Hi, welcome to Persona Grata. I am Katie and I'm here today to tell you about personas and our new book, User Guide to Humans, How I Was Born to Be. I was very lucky to be invited to talk with Constance Hall the other day about the personas, and I was inundated with loads and loads of clients and people asking, tell me some things about the quiz, tell me some things about the book. And I thought the best thing to do was to be brave, get out here and talk to you all. Now I'm just going to see whether I can see what's going on here. There we are. Okay, so where did the personas come from? Why have I written this book, User Guide to Humans? Well, I think most of us would have appreciated having some knowledge about who we were, maybe what our life was about while we're here. Oh look, someone's there. I'm so relieved. This is a big thing for me, let me tell you. People want to know, who am I and why am I here? What's my purpose in life? And I'm very strongly of the view that we are here for a purpose, and we've all got a golden thread that we're meant to sew through the global tapestry of life. But life's really busy. Life's really chaotic. We're often in jobs we don't like. We're often in relationships that are hard. We've got kids. We're busy. We don't have time to stop and think, well, who am I? Am I happy? Am I fulfilled? So my book and my work of the last 30 years has been about helping people really validate and love seeing who they are, warts and all, because then it's honest, and then have the courage to step out and say, I actually have always wanted to do whatever. What I'm doing today is something I've wanted to do for decades. That's why it's a big thing. But I've got Raven, and so Raven's waiting for people to say she's a raving lunatic and let's cut her off and crucify her and burn her at the stake. That's what goes on for my child. Anyway, I'm jumping ahead of myself here. I would like to explain first of all what the personas are about, and there are 10 of them. We've got lion, dog, beaver, and 7 birds. Swan, raven, owl, peacock, parrot, nightingale, and sparrow. Now, we all have 6 personas. They've all got light and shadow sides to them. So a persona is like a super archetypal cluster of personality traits and patterns. Now you know that you have got places in your life where you keep hitting the same brick walls. You've got patterns of behaviour that come up over and over again, and they have your whole life. Now as you get older, perhaps you've found that you've managed them a little better, but you can still be caught off guard. You can still be having a bad day, struggling, get a shock, be unwell, be overtired, and out comes your child, which is the emotionally under 5 part of ourselves, with their regular default setting, and we shoot ourselves in the foot. This is what happens to all of us, and we hate ourselves more after these events. Some of us are passive, maybe dogs, sparrows, nightingales, maybe we withdraw, we go quiet, we don't want to talk to anyone, and we just let the conflict reign. Others are more attack modes, like swans and lions and ravens. Even owls have the cutting one-liner every now and then. However, knowing our unique mix of our 6 personas is quite liberating and quite transformational to our lives. We've got 3 really strong ones, and this is what I call our outer personality, like their outer face to the world. And if you know people well, and when you know this language, you're going to say, I really understand, I see that in that person. They've got this, this, and this. People who know the language well say, oh, I met so-and-so and they've got this, this, and this. And they might have this one. Because underneath the top 3, we have got a secondary 3, which I call our secret identity. Now, these are the parts of our personality that most people don't see. They don't realise we've got it. So you might be saying something or making a joke or a comment about something, and someone's really offended, someone's really hurt. Someone reacts in a way we did not expect. They're coming from the underlying secret identity part of their personality. So out of the 10, we've got 6. We've got 3 with just some traits, and we've got 3 that we've got strong traits. But we're born with our personas. You can't choose them. You can't say, I wish I was this one, I wish I was that one. You are born with them. You have an imprint, a blueprint in your mind, in your way of being, in your soul, of this is what I've got gifts in, this is my style, this is what I value, this is what I love, this is what I loathe. The personas that you don't have are the ones that you react to really badly, particularly when you are in child. The same sort of people will just push your buttons every time. You'll find friends who have similar personas because they've got similar values to you. It makes sense. It's really logical. I've been writing the personas for about 6 years, and I didn't know all of this when I started. It just comes to me layer by layer by layer. But I started with the archetypes 18 years ago, writing a book about archetypes, Who Am I, an archetypal quest. And I had 113 archetypes with light and shadow traits, which are compulsive. They're primal, they're innate to you, and they're going to come out. They are who you are. And I wrote that book, and people said it's too many, I can't work it out. 13 archetypes per person was too much. So I went back to the drawing board, and then 6 years ago, out came the personas. Now, only a year or so ago, we got our quiz. Now, the quiz is a guide, and we've had several questions about the quiz coming up, or loads of questions actually coming up. And the quiz is a starting point only. You're probably going to do this quiz if you get into this language. You're probably going to get into this language strongly and understand it better and do the quiz later and find that your results change. Maybe the order changes of your persona. So when we start answering the questions on the quiz, I ask shadow child questions and I ask adult light questions in each persona. I could have asked 40 questions per persona and I got them down to 10. They're not easy questions, they're quite complex. When you see half a question, you say, I really agree with that, but boy, how did she put that part there with that question? I don't have that, that's ridiculous, they don't go together. Believe you me, I've had several people tell me this, many, owls, beavers, that's not logical. Well, it's not about logic. It's about if you've got that persona, then those two things are actually natural. If you don't have both of those things coming together, then you don't have that persona. You've got that trait in another persona. So the child questions, or the dark traits, which have got what you are like when you're at your worst, when you're struggling, when you're in fear, when you're feeling rejected, when you've fallen into child. Those questions are asking, when you are struggling, is this where you can go? Now, I'm not asking, do you go there every day? I'm not asking, have you been there a lot in the last year or 5 years? I'm saying, when you've had your really tough times in life, and let's face it, we all do you go here? Is that a trait of yours? So, for instance, the lion dark question that I like to draw on is, do you give threats and ultimatums to people? I'm a lion. I've given many a threat in my time. If you don't do this, and if this doesn't happen, then ... severe consequences. That's a lion thing. Now, I don't do that now. I haven't done it for quite some time. I think my husband will attest. I don't speak like that to him. However, I certainly have done loads and loads. So just because I haven't done it for a long time doesn't mean it's not me. It's absolutely where I'll go if I'm pushed far enough now. A dog question might be, when conflict arises, do you believe there's no point saying anything? Now, dogs always think that, oh, there's no point saying anything. I've been seeing clients as a therapist for 30 years. If I had $1 for every one of them who've said that, and it used to drive me absolutely mad until I understood the personas and the personality types. Then I got it. So we've got some people watching. Thank you so much. So you don't do the adult and the child quiz. There's a children's quiz for little kids, like really little kids, 5 to 7-year-olds. You might want to answer them, or 4-year-olds, and you want to have an idea of who are my children. That's the children's quiz. Though sometimes adults like to give that a go as well. Again, it's just a guide. The adult quiz is the one to go to. I think in life, if we can know who we are, and then we can know who our kids are, who our partners are, our family, the people we've been at war with, the people who've hurt us the most. I think this is amazing to be able to understand this, because that's when you start to have tolerance. It's really important to understand that when you're in child, you are struggling, you're in fear, and you're self-rejecting. And so when someone around you is in child and behaving really badly, really hurting, saying dreadful things, they're coming from an under 5-year-old, it's like a 3 or 4-year-old. And they are attacking because they're in pain. A good little thing to remember for the child is, when in pain, who can I blame? Don't we all do that? When we're in child, we inflict our pain on others and we're radioactive and we start destroying what we have around us. Now, it's really the hardest skill in the world to transition from child and the default automatic pilot setting into the adult. And if you don't even know what the light side is of your personas, how on earth are you meant to manage moving from one to the other? My shadow is really loud. It's really aggressive. It's really powerful. I had no idea for decades that there was any light side to those traits of my personality. Absolutely no clue. I would have denied it vehemently. And in fact, when I started my therapy 35 years ago, and I had a lot of therapy, I had to, and a lot of chronic health issues, which were only sorted by getting to the bottom of all of this. When I found out that I actually had a lovable side to me, I found it incomprehensible. I fought it for years. A lot of people can feel like that. Part of why this work can be powerful for people is that if we say you're lovely and you're wonderful and you're kind and you're talented and you're gifted in certain ways, a lot of people will reject that. Maybe that's not the script that they got from their families. However, they will believe the shadow sides. Oh yeah, I do that. Oh, I cut them off. Oh, I hold grudges. Oh yeah, I get so insulted. I take things so personally. Like, we will know about our shadow traits. You might not put it on a dating site. You might not put it on Facebook. But we all know about that. So the great thing about archetypes, which Carl Jung first described, was they have two sides of a coin. And they are very powerful energies that are within us. You might be able to hold one down for some time, but it will always explode through again. It is natural. It is natural. It is innate in you. When you're raised in a family and they don't have your personas, that can be really difficult. That can be really difficult because they don't understand where you're trying to get to or what you're all about. Now, we're parents. I'm the parent of 3 gorgeous kids and 3 gorgeous stepdaughters. They're so different. I'm so blessed to have had such a rich array of children to work closely with because, and there's one of them now, hi, because it meant I had to really learn what I wasn't understanding. I kept hitting brick walls. So I've written this language to say, to help people, to give them a shortcut, to give them a user guide to humans. First of all, to love yourself. I want you to fall in love with your personas. I love my personas. I'm really glad with the ones I've got. The ones I haven't got, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, have I had to do a lot of work on those. Ideally, and when we get through the series of these books, in the second series of User Guide to Humans, we're going to be looking at how to integrate the light traits of the personas we don't have. But that's for down the road. That's book 6. This User Guide for Humans series is actually 2 series of 4 books, so 8 books in total. This first book, hello, it's so nice seeing people just pop up and on the live. This is great. I think I'm going to like doing these. So this is the first book. The second book is How I Navigate Life. And that's where you're going to get your life compass, your innate GPS. What's your first primary persona? Not necessarily what you got first in the quiz. What do you like at work? What's your career path about? What do you like in relationships? What do you like at home? What's your secret identity? What's your secret dream? Where do you get distressed? Where do you get stressed? What are you really all about? Where should you be going? Because I believe we're all divine. We've all got a sacred path, but it's a pathless path. No one was raised the way we were raised and have our personas, ever. This is it. We've each got a unique contribution that needs to come forward. And let me tell you, if you're a child and playing life safe and small, you're going to have a painful life as if you're in handcuffs. So, someone just said to me, hello, my strongest was Raven. I think I'm going to jump into this now. I'll have to. I'll just quickly do the User Guide for Humans first series. So we've got this book, which is how to understand the language, see the child, adult, and then elder of each of the personas. So when you're a child, you read the adult and you see how to get yourself out of it. And elder is your contribution to the world. That's your purpose. That's your gift that you're here to give away. The second book is getting your map and understanding exactly what you are about, how your life goes and how you're to be directed and what's going to work for you. If we're not directed in the right GPS for our lives, That's where we have depression, anxiety, unhappiness, feel stuck. We feel very blocked. And often no one can help us because it's a unique, sacred path. It's a pathless path. And we all have to go through times of darkness and times of not knowing. But there is a path. This book, the second book, my business partner Abby is so excited about this book because this, when you put it with the language, just sets your life on fire. And when you parent your kids, you can start to get an idea very quickly of who you're going to be. The third book is parenting, it's families, but it's actually how do I deal with people who are fucked as in child. Excuse my language, I swear all the time, I'm a parrot and a raven. How do I deal with people in child? Now this is literally great for children, but it's also great for dealing with partners in child, yourself in child, people at work in child, family in child. It's about how do we help and support and shift people from child to adult, what we can do. So that's the third book. I think that's going to be really, really popular. And we've got little kids' audio stories about the personas so they can start talking and knowing about theirs that will come out as well. Hopefully, by Christmas, those three will be done. The fourth book of this series is about partnerships, how to have real adult soulmate partnerships, how to understand when we're in child and not create cellmate relationships. That's a very, very powerful topic to get into. Looking at family replicas, how we choose people that may not be appropriate for us and why, and what the child's looking for, and how to choose partners from the adult. This is amazing work. It's transformational. I've lived both. I've messed up very, very fully and for many, many years, but it was great because out of that darkness came a way out, which I want to share with people. So this book, first book, User Guide to Humans, How I Was Born to Be, which is on our Facebook page here and on our website, is the start, and it's about get to know your language. And the first thing we say is start the quiz. So someone just said to me, I'm a raven. I might debate that with you. Do you know 90% of people who say they are raven are sparrows? I've rewritten the questions over and over and over again. And we thought, surely a sparrow's not going to say yes to this. I've tried to make raven as dark as possible, and so that they could see you're not a raven. You want to be a raven. You share some traits and some background in history, which I'm not going to talk about now, but look in the book because all the personas have history, connections to people in history, which makes it unique. But ravens, let me tell you, my darling sparrows, are not meek and mild. They don't get upset. They don't cry easily. They don't have a sweet, lovely, happy nature. We don't know what you mean, sweet, happy, nice nature. I laughed the other day when Denham said to me, oh my God, he said, it was so nice because Katie delivers this message so gently. I burst out laughing. Gentle? Fuck off. That's not me. Though I have worked very hard on this. I have worked hard on it. Okay, so ravens have massive anger and rage, and we expose people and call them out with their vulnerabilities, and condemn people and judge people publicly as soon as we can talk. We're very opinionated, we're very angry, we're very frustrated, we feel very misunderstood, we feel extremely alone, we're very psychic. Now both ravens and sparrows would probably be the most psychic. The natural psychic that you think of, someone able to speak to people on the other side, sparrows. Ravens are more like the prophets who can picture what's going on in the world and pick up the themes that are happening and see that what's happening collectively is also happening individually, and that those themes are playing out in both places. And they have a real quick wit and cutting tongue, and it takes years, decades, sparrows, for them to control it. Now I know sparrows that you get offended and you can go off your trolleys and get hysterical and worry and get very angry. That does not make you a raven. You know, we're not meek and wild. We're very arrogant. I don't see sparrows as arrogant ever. Sparrows are amazing. They're young. They're like Peter Pan's fairy godmothers. There's a sweetness. But yeah, they've got a feisty side, which is fantastic. Fantastic. But I'm not going to go into all of them. But can I say, oh, thank you, Jane O'Connor Chapman. She's got 20 for sparrow. And I've got a huge owl here coming as well. Brilliant. When you're a 2020 persona, that's your primary persona. That's your GPS. Your life has to be about what those things are, what they believe in, what they love, what they're naturally gifted in. That's what your life should be all about. It's overarching all your other personas. So, we've got some people here who've got 15 similar numbers for personas. That's okay to start with. As I said, it's a guide. Before you read the book, you do the quiz, then you read the book, and then you come back and do the quiz again. Now, if you've got a lot of scores, 15 or over, 17 or over, you've said yes to way too many questions. You've got to be brutally honest. There are no good personas. They are all equally shadow and light. They are all magical. They all have genius. They've all got their outer shell of prickliness and fear-based survival coping mechanisms that we need to get through and manage to parent in ourselves so that the divine can come out and we can offer our gift. That's for sure. But there's none is better than another. But people have ones they want to have. Honestly, if you knew what a raven's life were like, you would never, ever want to be a raven. It's the rarest of the lot. It's the rarest of the lot. Okay, so we can have people who've got a couple of 2020s. I'm a 20 for lion and a 20 for raven, but raven wins in terms of what's my life really all about. My daughter has 2020 for nightingale now, but nightingale wins. You have to use your intuition then and your own discernment to understand, okay, what's really strongest about. Don't make the quiz black and white. It's just a starting point. It's just a starting point. You come back to it 4 months' time, you may answer differently. If you get the similar scores for several, come back to them and really go through them closely. Another good idea is to have a friend or a partner or someone who knows you really well do the questions with you. You have to have an enormous amount of self-awareness, an enormous amount of self-knowledge to be able to answer these really well, these questions well. But once you've read the personas in the User Guide for Humans, you'll read it and you go, oh, I thought I was a lion. I'm not a lion at all. I'm not like that. Oh my God, I'm such a dog. Or I've got such a huge parrot. Oh yeah, and I love that stuff. And you know what? When you find out what you are, it gives you permission to get excited and say, I'm going to let myself really go into this. You know how we all hold back? You, like me, might have been told, oh, you're too much. Tone it down. Excuse me. Tone it down. You're too much. Well, we don't need to tone it down. We need to go fully into who we are. So we suggest, as a general guide, you should be, maybe have 2, 17 or over, excuse me, and then maybe just a few underneath that up between 11 and 17 and then some lower ones. Otherwise, you've said yes to too many questions. Now, some people say no to too many questions. If you can agree with 90% of the question, go for it. And then it's just a matter of it's strongly me or it's moderately me. Okay, someone else has been told they're too much. Who would have thought? You have parents who have got more introverted personalities and you've got an extroverted personality. Guess what? That doesn't work and it can be shamed. We can all judge, we all judge those who have personas we don't have. We all think they're fucked. We all think they haven't got a clue or they're stupid. See, this is my arrogance coming through, sparrows. We can all judge them in a certain way, but what we're actually saying is we don't understand them. We don't see them. We don't understand how they tick. I've had so much feedback with this work because I've been doing workshops with this work for 18 years. So hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people have seen it. It is so accurate. There are so many layers through this. You can't read the User Guide for Humans and say, I get it. It's not a one-read book. It's a book where you have to read the introduction. I'm sorry, but you have to read the introduction to understand it. You've got to read the child sections over and over again because the power of this work is, if you can see in the moment that you are in child, you get it straight away. You have a choice. This is where the work is. I don't care how much therapy you've done. The work is in that second when you're in child or you're triggered and you're reactive. Do you do the child of your whatever personas want to do it? Usually 1, 2 or 3 are the ones that come in, but then you may call on number 4 to do it as well. Even 5 and 6. Do you do that or do you hold it together for a while, for a moment? Let the inner parent, which is the adult, come and talk the child down, not let you speak. I say go to my room, to my child, not let you speak. Wait, find out what is this emotion really about? What is this triggering really about? Because what your child thinks it's about is not what it's about. It is not. There's something deeper here. Every trigger is a reaction, and every reaction is actually a mirror of something that's going on inside that we're unaware of. That's the deeper message of shadow. It's to take us to deeper places of fractures within. But I'm diverting here and going to series 2. Abby's going to be cross with me. Okay, so if you've got too many the same, do the quiz again and be really astute and really considered, or get someone to be with you to look at those questions. Is this really me? But read the book and have a little list by your side of your bedside table or wherever. Yeah, that one's me. Look, I feel I only got this for that, this score for that one, but it feels really strongly me. Then put that first. You are the best judge of who you are. You are the best judge. Now, when you're triggered, one of the things that we would like to have a look at is go and read. Say you've got, for me, I'm Raven, Lion. When I'm feeling right off, I might go and read Child Raven and Child Lion, and straight away I can see I am child. If I do that, I am going to go to the same dark place again, same pattern again, same brick wall, and I hurt myself and I hurt others. And I hurt my self-esteem. We all hurt our self-esteem every time. The quiz, if you go to katieedentodd.com, that's where you'll find the quiz. katieedentodd.com, www.katieedentodd.com. Oh yeah, thank you. I've just got a notice here from Eden saying she's got Nightingale and Hour 2020 and they pull her in 2 different directions. So when you have your personas there, you'll feel at some points you're going over this direction and then another time you're going that direction. You can feel like you're a split personality. You can feel like you've got multiple personalities or schizophrenic. You're not, but it's great to know, wow, this is my Nightingale's pulling me here. My Lion wants to go here. You can have opposites. There are persona opposites in this language. So when you've got both of them, you'll be pulling in different directions, and that's where we get terribly, terribly confused, and where I feel we all could have done with this knowledge a long time ago. We could have done with knowing exactly who we are and some help to find out why we are here. That's the point of this work. We're eventually going to have an audio book of this, so some people like to go walking and listen to it. The idea is listen to your personas over and over again. What if you get 0 for something, 0 parrot? You're not alone. You're not alone. You can get 0. You've got absolutely nothing. You don't relate to them at all. I bet they annoy the hell out of you. I have 0 sparrow and 2 for swan. Let me tell you, am I triggered? Am I triggered? And yet the light of them is exactly my weakness and what I need to work on. But we don't go there yet. I'll just say something very quickly is when we've got your 6 personas, we have something that we call the missing animal, which I referred to on the live Facebook with Con. The missing animal is your 3rd lowest animal score, not your birds, animals. Lion, dog, beaver. The lowest score you got is your missing animal. And there are 4 light words of those. And if you inject those 4 light words for the dog or the lion or the beaver into your 6 in your map, you turn all of them into the light. It's quite magical. It's quite amazing. The details of that and those words are in the user guide to humans. For me, it's missing dog. I need to learn more sensitivity, kindness, tolerance, well, patience. Yeah, I would forget that. I would forget that. A lion might need to learn more courage, faith, decisiveness, passion. And the beaver, routine and focus, self-discipline, and vision about what their life's really about. Those words, something to help you monitor yourself all the time. When we're in adult, we are able to monitor ourselves and to be the observer of our lives. When we're in child, you ask a 4-year-old, are they aware of the consequences of what they're doing and how it affects other people? Are they aware of what's going to happen in the long term from the choices they're making right now? They're not. So when we are in adult, we are self-parenting our inner toddler. We've all got one. No one's coming to rescue us. No one's coming to save us. No one's coming to say, poor you, let me fix this from your childhood. That's actually our work that we signed up for. So we have our inner adult becomes our inner parent. And then the adult works out, I'm in child, I have a choice now. I can make it conscious and I can decide, do I go down that path or do I learn to stop? Now, we're not always successful. You never fully overcome your shadow. You never fully overcome your lessons, because that's what the point of Earth is. It's a school. It's your lessons that we've signed up for before. They're spiritual lessons. This work is emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence. And I feel like we've had starvation levels of this in our lives, and people are yearning for that. So these books are about knowing yourself, knowing me, knowing you, and they're about helping you find the meaning of your life, which is your gifts. The meaning of your life is the meaning of life is to find your gifts. The purpose of your life is to give it away. That's Pablo Picasso. Absolutely love that quote. The meaning of life is to find your gifts, and the purpose of life is to give it away. That is the secret to happiness. That is the secret to fulfillment. Every single person on the planet was born with a purpose, with a destiny. But when we're shrouded in fear and in pain, and in child unconsciously, we're 98% unconscious. When we're shrouded in our child, we only get glimmers of it, and we can't find and live the life that we're here to live. That is what I'm so passionate about, that all of us step up and go and sew our thread into the global tapestry of life, because the world is unraveling and we need to make a new tapestry now based on very, very different values, much more compassion, much more heart, much more sensitivity, much more adult kindness and valuing of all. That is what this work is about, and that is what these books are about. So I'm in the throes of writing the second one, and we'll get that out as soon as we can, because as I say, once you understand the language and you put the map together, wow, life really, really changes. It's very, very exciting. So my last words would be to you, reread your personas over and over again. If you've got a child or a partner who you're struggling with and you can recognize, oh my God, my partner's a swan, reread it over and over again. You will find that you have compassion. You will find some tips there about how do I handle that? How should I do it? Don't do it the same old way. Don't say this, then they say that, then da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We get to the same place. We've got to build bridges. And this is the way, is to understand. Every child is born wishing that they could be seen and loved and validated for exactly who they are. That's me, that's you, that's everyone on the planet. The minute you start behaving as an understanding and appreciation of who the people are around you, dynamics change. Dynamics change. So this is the work to achieve genuine self-love. It's not easy to know how to self-love. We're told to do it, but yes, Kylie, answer to your question, abuser is stuck in child. They're inflicting their pain on another. The more in child we are, the more we move away from ourselves and our divine self. And the further we shut down our heart and soul, the more dangerous we are. And we can all relate to that. So I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to do these Facebook Lives every week, every Monday, I think, 10:30 Monday. But I'd love to answer questions for people. This book was supposed to be your tool to be the therapist for yourself. Therapy is expensive. Therapy is difficult to find a good therapist. It's a good idea when you do, but it's not accessible to everybody. I've been inundated with requests to do therapy. I haven't got time to do therapy for all the people who would like it. What I want to do is give people the tools so that they can turn their lives around for themselves. With this book, with the Facebook Lives, with podcasts, with answering specific questions, with the further books. This is supposed to be your tool so that you can become your own therapist and you can navigate your way through. If you need some extra help with some other issues, go for it. Find a good one. But for some people will find that this is enough. They'll find that this is enough to do the work for their families, that their family lives start to transform. That's my hope. So if there's anyone who has topics or questions that they would like me to look at specifically, I've been asked to do mental health and connections to the personas. That I shall be doing down the road. You've jumped ahead, that's in the second series. We will look at that because there's definitely a connection. There's definitely a connection with all of it. Now, I think that's all there is. So the quiz is free. You can go to katieedentodd.com or personagrataprofiling.com. That's our website that we're ending this week and getting our new one at the end of the week. And then there's a free podcast on there just as an introduction. I'm doing, someone said I'm a dog and owl primarily. Is that good? They're all good. Every combination is fascinating. There is no bad combination. Some have struggles, but when you pull them together, your greatest moments in your life have been when you've been in the light of your personas and they were coming together in harmony. And you think, why can't I be like that all the time? Well, that's because it was random. You didn't know how to do it. This is how to make sure that happens all the time. So that's very exciting. They're all good. Dog and owl, that's great. There is no combination you can tell me that's not good. They're all fantastic. In the child, we're all hard work. We all take things personally. We're really, really difficult and they can all look awful. They can all be awful. But in the adult, when you learn how to master that, most important of life skills, move from child to adult. Once you've got your inner toddler under control, then you get on to the great joyous work of being an elder, where you start to contribute and give your gifts away. It's the secret to life. It's the secret to happiness. Okay, I think that was a bit profound, that last bit. I'm going to leave it there, and please write into Persona Grata and let me know what you would like to hear about. What can I answer or talk about that might be of help? Thanks for joining me today. It's been great.